Hello, all my cryptids and creatures. Welcome to today's creature feature featuring me, the creature. We're back with another Planet Zoo Let's Play episode, and today I wanted to switch things up a little bit. I've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes on expanding some things for the zoo, kind of like making it a little bit nicer and a little bit prettier, but I'm not in a place that I want to show you guys that just yet, so I thought we would take one of the suggestions from the comments and actually go check out some of the other Tope towns as well as some of the other zoos that I've worked on, that I have on my computer, and kind of show you a little bit on how I have progressed in my Planet Zoo expertise. So I think the best place to start is probably going to be... Actually, I think I want to start down here at Tope Town Down Under. It's not the first zoo I made, that would be Tope Town, USA, but I think it's the one I've had the least amount of time dedicated to. So we can see a little bit of what that looks like, and then we'll jump into Tope Town, USA, and then we'll jump into my personal zoo that I put a lot of time into. Alright, and here we are at Tope Town Down Under. Now, this zoo is in a very poor state because I started working on it and I didn't get very far, but as you can see, we have a kind of setup for an entranceway. I think I had an image that I was trying to reference with this, but I wanted to do something different, and instead of just having the entrance and then everyone enters into the zoo, I wanted the spawners to be back here and kind of like this parking lot kind of vibe, and then have this entranceway here. I was going to put some like fountains and some statues. And then you have the main entrance building, which, as you can see, I did not get very far on. But let's check out our exhibits. The first one we have here is no signage. Love that for me. Where is the animal? There they are! Oh, they're so precious. Such little guys. So for this one, you can see I started working on landscaping and trying to make that all look nice. I really like what I did with this door. This is quite cool. I quite like that. I might have to consider that for later. But you can see we have this little look into their actual interior exhibit. I think if I were to do this now, I probably would make this like an actual room with glass, so the animals have somewhere they can stay that's not in direct view of the guests. Like, they have this little nook here, but I feel like I would give them a little bit more. I quite like the design of this building. It definitely needs some decoration on the sides and some glass put in up here, but I quite like the style, and I like the view of the outside area. And I also like this little hedge here. I feel like that's a really good way of blocking off like the edge of the zoo. We can't really do this in the zoo that we're working on because our edge is a mountain, but it'd be interesting to see where we can go forward with this. Then obviously we have our exhibit, kind of bare bones terrain-wise, but I think this is also before I gave myself a little bit more leeway with their... I think this is where I gave myself a little bit more leeway with foliage. So I think if I were to check on them now, yeah, they can handle a lot more coverage. But I think it's quite cute. You have their little sprinklers, little herb markers, roll feeder. I really like the barrier design that I did. I think that's where I have definitely been leaning into a lot of the style, is with this barrier. And it's quite cute. And then obviously you have your other exhibits here. We have a snake, an eastern brown snake, and a common death adder. The big thing I guess I was working on was over here. We have a nice walkthrough exhibit. Do I have something in here? I do! The flying fox. It is not doing well. Let's see if we can find one of them. Oh! Bats are so cool, guys. You should protect your native bat species. Look at how cool. Oh, Heon! So cute. What are the other ones? Oh! Oh, big stretch! I can definitely see I was messing with a lot of the terrain here. I think this is going to be a penguin exhibit. I distinctly remember that. And then this, I think, was going to be... Do I have them in my... No, I do not seem to have them. Yeah, I was going to do a lynx and I think a penguin exhibit. So you can already see where I'm starting to combine architecture with exhibit designs. And I think these interior exhibits are quite cool. I definitely want to do more of them. This is quite cute. I quite enjoy it. The terrain manipulation is always one of the hardest things in this game, getting it to mesh well. And you can see I've had some fun messing with it. But it's quite cute. And like I said, this is the zoo I haven't had the most time put into, but I might come back to this every once in a while just for fun. We got a lot of nice cool caves in this terrain. Got some lakes, which are quite nice. A nice actual cave. Oh, it's a tunnel. Ooh, that's quite nice. Yeah, this might not be bad to come back and hang out with for a couple episodes if we ever get a little tired of hanging out in Ireland. Got a lot of nice lakes and stuff. Quite like this. This is quite nice. Now let's go jump over to another continent and check out Tobetown, USA. So now we are jumping into Tobetown, USA. This is the first zoo that I created. This was when I got the game. This is what I put my time into, and you can definitely tell when we get there that I did not really know what I was doing. I kind of just put animals where I wanted to put animals. But that's okay, you know? It was for fun, and we've learned, and it'll be good to see going forward. And welcome to Tobetown, USA. This is quite cute, honestly. I forgot how cute this little zoo is. You immediately have here our aardvark exhibit. So you can see I already had the burrow cams up here. And not bad, actually, with terrain-wise. A little bit patchy flowers. The grass is a little bit scattered around. We'll see, I started to put some shelter in there for them. They have their burrow. The rock placement. This rock placement, peak design. Here's the big one. We have our guys here, our African buffalo. These guys are quite cool. Oh, I have a viewing dome in here. I always forget about the viewing domes. I didn't make this. This was a blueprint, but it's quite cool because the guests will go in there and then they pop up in here and they can get a nice view. Can I? Oh, I can enter camera view. So you can get quite a nice view of the guys. I don't know if I would want to be at this eye level with them, but you know. But you definitely see I hadn't gotten a good understanding of what the animals needed. Oh, look at the little baby. Oh, baby. But because they don't have any shelter that they can really hide, they're under constant watch from all the guests, which isn't good. You need to have your animals have the ability to control when they can see the guests, because it helps with their stress levels. But it's a nice, quite big exhibit. Nice pond here. I want to put in, for the Timberwolves, I think I want to put in a nice pond. I think I've decided. Then you come up here. Ah, we have my water treatment plant hidden by a bunch of trees. A nice shelter up here. I think I built this one. Yeah, I think I definitely did. But I felt bad because people kept getting rained on, so I gave them something to see. Then you come in here. The staff places are right on the main street, the main walking street, which is interesting. Let's go down here, because here's where we have a lot of our exhibit animals. Got some snakes. More snakes. What do we got in here? Oh, a burrowing cockroach. I don't know if we can find them. Oh, she's expecting offspring. How exciting. There you are. She's so precious. There she is. Right here. Amazing. And then in here, we've got another snake. A lot of snakes in this zoo. Over here, we've got, oh, a tree frog. Oh, he's on the glass. That's silly. And then we have snails. Oh, brilliant creature. And then you come through here. We have our tortoises and they have babies. Oh, they're so small. That's quite cute. You are 3 years old. You are the youngest person ever. So you can see this isn't that bad of an enclosure. I've learned as I continued on. So we have this back wall where no one can see them except for on the sides. And they have some nice hard shelters, some nice rocks. One of them's mossy for some reason. Don't ask me. These are huge animals. Galapagos giant tortoise is right. Look at how big. Crazy. And then over here, we have porcupines. I remember the porcupines stressing me out because they are shy animals. So they do not like being constantly observed. So they have their burrow over here. It's quite big. But I also had to go through, this is the first time I started experimenting with building little shelters for them. So they have this little walk-in, go-around shelter. Not the best thing. It's very rudimentary, but it helps them out a little bit. And we have these education speakers here. This is before I decided to put them on the back of the habitat information signs. Also, I have this sign here because I actually was having a problem of guests were throwing food into the enclosure. So I had to increase the fence height. But you would actually see like little cheeseburgers and stuff in the enclosure, which I thought was wild. So now I have these signs, a nice little porcupine there. Nice little seating area. Oh, I have some more of like a little staff village over here. Quite cute. And then we have... what do we have over here? Are you guys in here? Oh, it's a dual habitat. We have got our pangolins. I do love a good pangolin. Look at how cute they are. Literally perfect. It's raining. But they're literally perfect. And then we also have our guys over here. We have our... oh goodness. We also have our Nella over here. I remember I was very excited when I found out that these species like to live in the same place, so I just divided up their habitat. But it's quite cute. They're doing quite well. Nice foraging box here. And then I believe the plan was to make a safari out here and go all the way up to the lake. But yeah, so then I think the idea was to have an upper view of the safari area and then have an actual ride here, a monorail to go through it. Which would have been quite nice. Some things have and have not changed. You could definitely see how cute and kind of compact. I like a good compact zoo where you don't have to walk that much. And I think you could definitely see that in our Irish zoo. And it's still quite nice. The terrain, placing the trees and stuff, you can definitely see I've gotten a little bit more natural with those instead of just rows of trees, but still feels quite natural, which I quite like. So a little pit stop before we do that, I actually want to show you the most recent one that I have built that has not been for a video. So this has been just me getting back into it, drumming up ideas for videos and for the direction I want to take the series. And it's perfect that we start here. This is a failed project. The idea was, actually, where is the creature? The idea was that the leopard had this whole enclosure and they could go up and around, and then visitors would pass underneath and they had this whole building to check out. The leopard can go straight through this barrier. I don't know if it's just the way that I have clipped some of the objects so that she can clip through them. But this, yeah, is a failed project, which I think is quite funny. But what I really wanted to highlight was over here. So over here we have I think, the best exhibit I've ever done, and that is the prairie dogs here. There's a lot of things about this exhibit that I like. And start off, obviously, you've got the little habitat here. If this was in a real world context, these openings, instead of being openings, would be doors. That way it could be fully enclosed and the prairie dogs could be safe for any sort of situation. But I just think the terrain looks very natural, and it feels like an exhibit you could actually see in a zoo, especially with these fence designs of using the lower fence here. I just quite like that. I would probably go through, if I was doing this now, I would go through with a secondary smaller fence, because you think about the size of a prairie dog, size of prairie dog, they could squeeze through those tiny little holes. And you don't want that, because then they can escape. So I'd probably go through with a tighter netting, like a chicken wire, underneath these. Then obviously you do have to consider the fact that prairie dogs dig. Not good. Gotta make sure that's okay. But I think this is one of the best exhibits that I've made so far. And it feels very alive. And then you come over here and you have some turtles, some tortoises, African spurred tortoise. They need some water, but this is another one, right? I think it's quite a nice exhibit. It feels very natural. It feels like something you could see. There'd be a little variation in the terrain. I think the terrain is too smooth, but you have the little tucked in area where they can live, and I like these little decorative signs I have up here. It's quite nice. Progress has definitely been made towards building, knowing what looks nice, what feels natural, lights, something I used to never put in my zoos. But now I want to show you the zoo I've dedicated the most time and effort into. And as you can see, this is quite bigger than most of the other zoos that I have shown you so far. And the style, the castle style, this is where I kind of hammered that design home for me, because it was the one that I felt I could do the best with. We'll start over here at this entranceway, and you can see there's a lot of people, because I think the last thing I did before I stopped playing with the zoo for a little bit was I changed one of the exhibits from a walkthrough exhibit to a regular exhibit because it was stressing the animals out. So I had to close the zoo, and now everyone's here. So they're all here up at the start, but we'll start here because it'll be quite familiar to you all. We have our flamingos, and this one is actually a walkthrough exhibit. So the guests can come in here and actually see the flamingos. So they have this little cliff face here they can hang out with. I have quite a few. I don't know what the exact number is. I have a 31 flamingos here. Quite a lot. You can see they have their little mirror mobile. They've got a lot of feeding areas because I was having the same problem where there was just not enough food available because there's 31 of them. And they have this little castle structure for them to go hang out with and kind of get out of the public eye. You have one hanging out on the path. He's judging you. And me. You got a lot of them just standing around. They have this nice water area. I think that's why I started with flamingos, is because I wanted to use this nice coastal area. Then you have the newest structure that I added for them, which is a nice, fully integrated little castle structure. They can come in through here. They've got a little balcony they can hang out on. And then these are all two-way glass. So you can see into them, but they can't see you, which is quite nice. I need more groundskeepers here because they've been dealing with a lot of trash. Coming over here, we have a cute little castle structure for our vendors, and then we have our Nile monitors. Yeah. And these guys are quite cute. I booted up this zoo a bit ago and realized the poor guys don't have an actual hard shelter, which very unethical to have for an animal that's outside. So never come back to this. Gotta work on that. These guys are quite cool. I've had a lot of success breeding them, I think. Yeah, so I had his parents and then I had a good success breeding them. They have like a very good immunogen. Jesus. There you go. They're quite a popular species I have here. Which is quite nice. Quite nice indeed. And then I think the direction I built it was this way. So we'll go this way. Follow the crowds of people. We have little education stations. Get all the kids excited. That's cursed. Where are your eyes? Hello? Over here we have this is what used to be my walkthrough exhibit. And you can still see some of the remnants in here, but it is our anteater and our Okapi exhibit. And it used to stress me out how much these guys would get stressed out. So that's why I went through and changed it. But you can see he's hanging out. They have, I think, my favorite of the designs that I've done for their hard shelter requirements. They have these kind of like a nice anthill here. They have these nice little hiding areas. And these are originally what the guests could go climb up on, which is why you can see remnants of like a path and stuff. I need to go through and remove that. But I went through and actually added this, which is a little bridge area that they can come and hide at and just relax in. I don't know how ethical this would be because there's a very high risk of the animals falling and then drowning. So this is not something that could be probably real world achieved, but we're playing a video game, so it's fine. And then also you can see I've unlocked one-way glass for this guy's here. And I believe I also means that, yeah, this is one-way glass here. So they do not know they are being observed anymore. I just see my anteaters. Where's my other guys? Where you at? Oh, there's one. Yeah! Just missed World Okapi Day a couple days ago, but quite cute, and they're very happy now and not stressed out at all. But as you can see, terrain still has not generally improved, but that's okay. You just gotta keep practicing and it'll look better. Over here, we have my pangolins, and I very much enjoy them. You can see I have the little statues for them. We got the burrow cam. In here, I actually quite like this habitat here. There's a nice small shelter here, some nice shelter tucked in here. They're just so cool. Just look at them dig. Look at them forage. Just kind of hanging out. Oh, running. Running. Where are you off to? Where are you off to, little dude? And this one I actually quite like. It's very plant heavy, but not a lot on the ground. Again, I was still playing with the very limited restriction on what you could put in their exhibit. My path game has not gotten any better. So, just want you guys to know that. But I do think it's quite a nice view to have of the animals. Get to kind of see them up like this. This guy's not happy. I'm supposed to use a serious green paint. Whatever. It's a nice upward, like a nice overview of the animals. I had a similar view of the rhinos at FOTA. This is very similar to the view I had for them. And now we'll go over here, because this is a very nice part of my park. Because I've been playing this park for so long, I've had a lot of animals pass away from old age. So this is what I like to call my little memorial garden. So these are all the pangolins we've had pass from old age. A giant anteater. I think all of these animals have passed away from old age. I don't think there's one that has died from anything else, but it's quite nice to see. It's just a nice little memoriam. I don't know. I thought it was a good addition to have, and so you can see I have all of these guys. Another pangolin over here. It just makes the zoo feel like it cares a lot, which I thought was quite nice. Before we head that way, we're actually going to come back this way because Jesus, I could use spring cleaning. This is my first attempt to build a multi-level building, which those of you who played this game know can be quite the nightmare. But in here we have some nice exhibits. We have some iguanas. We have a frog. That's a frog, not a snake. Oh my god, he's so small. It's right here. Tiny. I tried to set up a merchandise shop before I realized I don't understand how that game mechanic works. We've got some nice booths here to sit, and then obviously we have our Gulpy soda. Over here, our cheap beef, and then I think in this little corner. Oh no! Oh wait, no, the corner is upstairs. But so this is the lower level, just a nice place to stop and hang out. And if you come around here, you can get to the upper level, which has nice baked goods. We have our nice little statue here, which looks a lot more boring without any foliage on it. We've got our snails. This one also says snails, but I'm pretty sure there's leaf insects in here, or at least there were before they kept dying. Those guys do not last very long. We have our little openings for our shops, because I just thought it was nice to make it feel like they can actually arrive in there. And of course we have a little tower. I don't think the tree going through was a good idea in retrospect, but you know, what are you gonna do? Then you can see these guys have a nice view of the outside. It's not the prettiest building, and I think the stuff we did in last episode really shows how far I progressed in building, because there's just not a lot of texture. It's just kind of thrown together. It's a casing is what it is, instead of an actual proper building. And then also we have Yoo-Hoo Zoo. This took so long to do. I remember. And then let's go this way. I want to show you this is the kind of central area. So we have a fountain, has some nice planters. I didn't make these were a blueprint, but I did put the statues in because I thought the statues were quite cool. They do not fit the theme, but shush. So here's one of the two main buildings. You can see the other one is over here. This one I made first, and obviously you can tell it's still missing quite a lot. But that's okay. So we'll go through here. And you have, again, more seating areas. I need apparently to really fire and hire some new groundskeepers, because this place is a mess. We have an actual souvenir shop here. Much more bare bones than the one we have in our Tobetown, Ireland. And then we have, if you go through here, our llamas. I didn't have horses or donkeys or anything like that, and I really wanted this to get the feel of this was like a castle stables, which is why you have these areas here. Not that they ever go in them, but you know. But so I thought llamas would be the best equivalent. These guys are constantly dirty and constantly getting sick. So I think if I were to make llamas again, I probably wouldn't do it the way that I did this one. I would tighten a lot of the restrictions of people being in there and probably limit the social group. They require quite a lot, which is unfortunate, but I still think they're quite cool and they're very popular. A lot of people like to come and hang out here. This, silly, but what are you gonna do? And then through here, we've got some vending machines. I think I tried to have a shop here and it just was not working. Got some nice statues. This is a buggy mess. This is because right above this is a staff room and it still has a negative circle underneath it on the downstairs bit. So I had to just basically block that so people weren't getting mad, which is funny. We have a little exhibit tucked in here, some more frogs, and then down here, we've got our boat system, which is experiencing a bit of a backlog. Oh, because the station's broken down. That's great. And then, yeah, so up here we have a nice little staff room. There's some power over here. This is, oh my god, we do have neighbors! Or not lemurs, we have monkeys. I put these monkeys in here so long ago, and it's a really big exhibit. So it goes all the way around and passes under, like they have a little bridge here, and they hang out on this side too. I could not get them over here to save my life, but they're finally over here. So this is my little climbing structure. I don't think I made this. I think this is a blueprint. Before people ask me how to make good climbing structures, I don't think I did this. I think I just put it in the trees. But we'll go through here and I'll show you this. This without the trash. Oh my goodness. I have to fire all my groundskeepers and hire new ones. This is the main kind of eating area. So you got your gulpy soda. 2 of them apparently. Can't have enough gulp. We got, I think this is an information kiosk, and then I think we have a Fox's Pizza Den. Yeah. Oh no, we have a, what is this? Pizza Pen. There we go. I'm thinking of an actual pizza place. But yeah, then we have that here. We also have a cute little spider exhibit tucked in the corner. And this guy looks depressed. Oh, it looks like I have cam here recently because I have the stained glass window for an animal that we don't have here, which is quite interesting. We've got some orangutans and a pangolin. I think I decided he was the mascot of this zoo. And they're hanging out in there. We got some educational signs up here. And then my favorite part is if you walk through here, first off, you have lovely viewing of the monkeys. And I believe, yeah, these are 2-way windows, or one-way windows, so they can't see you. And then you have this little area where you can go and see them all hanging out, see them climbing in the trees. And then you can also look out to the nice water feature that I have. I might put like a fountain or something in here. Haven't decided yet. But that's the kind of main structure that I have. Over here we also have some bongos. I think I was pushing it with this exhibit. It's quite a tiny little place. It's quite long, but probably would have been better for something a lot smaller. But they do have some nice space in here. And I have a nice little viewing area tucked in here with this nice overhang that people can walk through. I wanted it to feel very much like the architecture was thought about before the paths were put down, which is not the case. And then I think over here we have our tigers. I'm very excited to put these guys in. They are hanging out. So this is one of those where if I was building this now, I also would put a secondary fence across here, because you would never just put, oh, okay, could stick their hand through there, and then those kids don't have a hand anymore. But yeah, we got our cute little tigers. They're hanging out. Oh, baby. I can't click on them because they're hiding in the foliage, but it's quite nice. Do you have a child? Yes. Cute little baby tiger. But it's a quite nice place they have here. I really liked this where you could see the staff room connects right to it, so they get a nice view, which I quite liked. And you have obviously this little up here hangout area where people can see them, which I think this is quite a nice view to have of a tiger exhibit. Then obviously you have in here, which is their little hangout area, again, all one-way glass, so that you can see them, but they can't see you. And then we have the staff village, which I put a little bit more effort into. This one is, I think, the most intricate one I have, where you have the downstairs has these, and then you go upstairs, you have Keeper Hut. You have to go all the way around here to these stairs and go across. I think this is a vet surgery building. Quarantine. And then next to it is vet surgery. So, quite intricate. I think I'm gonna put them, I think monkeys were here. I don't quite remember exactly where everything was going. I know that the gorillas were going here. That's about all I knew. And then I think I had some sort of aquatic species, and then this was another monkey species. I do not know. Or an ape. I'm not sure. It's been a hot second. The staff area does come out to this little courtyard, they don't use it. Unless they're going to the turtles, which are right here. And they're hanging out in this cute little enclosure down here, and they have so many babies. There's actually 2 species of turtles here. We have the Algebra giant tortoise and the Galapagos giant tortoise here. I would probably redesign this exhibit if I was given it now. I would probably expand it out this way and kind of loop it around to give them some more space. But we live and you learn, you know? I don't think this would ever be deemed an ethical enclosure for them, especially with that many juveniles hanging out there. But we've looped back around to the flamingos, which also brings us over here to my creatures. I love these guys so much. Look at how big, look at how scary, and look at how many. I have 7 of them. So these guys are quite cool, and they have this whole water area to hang out in. And they hang out in it quite a lot. You can see them all chilling. Another species that I don't have any like house, for lack of a better word, for, and I definitely would change that, probably something over in this corner, just in case. It's the idea is not, obviously doesn't apply to this game. They do have hard shelter requirements, but the idea in a real world context is any sort of inclement weather, storms, extreme temperatures, heat and snow, you want to have an animal somewhere where it can be controlled and have an environment that is nice for them. And these guys don't have that, and that's not right. We have a walkthrough exhibit for our flying foxes again, which we've seen. They're hanging out over here. And then it comes through here. I think I was going to put a shop or something here, but it's got quite a nice view out this way, and of the boathouse that I never designed. This station is shut down, so unfortunate. But then of course you loop all the way here to where the drawbridge was going to be, and this has 2 little viewing areas for the exhibits that are hanging out here, and then it was going to be a nice big old bridge that'll take us to the next part, and I never got that far. And that is, I think that it was going to be tundra up here, taiga, temperate, and then aquatic dotted around. But yeah, that is Yoo-Hoo Zoo. That is the zoo I've put the most effort into. And as you can see, I definitely had a lot of room to grow. But that's okay, because I think I definitely have, both in habitat standards and also just what looks nice. Because some of these buildings, they need some work. And I'm still not the best, but I think the building we built last episode really showed that we can make some really cool things. If we just, keep building our skills. And that is it for this week's episode of our Planet Zoo Master series. If you have any thoughts, please leave them down in the comments, and I will see you all next week.